A while back, a friend of mine recommended me a show called Barry. Now, because I didn't really have a show to watch at the time anyway, and this show was about a murderer who wanted to become an actor, I thought it would be fun to watch. So, when I started watching, I got lucky because the last season of this show, season 4, aired last year in May. So, I just binged the whole show in 1 week. And oh boy, I got a lot to say. So, with further ado, this video is about a show called Barry is a 4-season show about a man called Barry. Now, Barry is kind of a troubled man. Barry used to serve in Afghanistan where he did some pretty fucked up shit, so he got sent home. When he was sent home, he met a man called Fuchs, and Fuchs wanted to give Barry a purpose in his life, and that purpose being taking lives. So Barry became a murder for hire, where Fuchs kind of became his manager. Now, a few years later, and Barry doesn't really want to murder people anymore. And when he gets this job from a gang of Chechens to kill an actor who follows an acting class, he joins that acting class where he meets a girl called Sally. And he realizes that this is the life he wants and not the whole murder thing. And now the show kind of swings between this whole theme of Barry not wanting to kill people and then killing a bunch of people, and it's done with a very comedic tone. Although let that not confuse you, because Barry is very much a drama show, although it is really funny at times. Now, before I go further, I really want to try to not spoil too much about the show, but I'm probably gonna end up spoiling everything. So if you do have HBO Max and you are interested, please watch the show because it's really good. And if you don't and you don't really care, watch this video and let's get into it. Now, I have a lot to say about this show, and I think the best way to kind of structure this is by doing it per season. So with further ado, let's start with season 1.
Hello?
Hey, Barry. Hey, it's Sally.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, great. I mean, not great, but thank God.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, I was so concerned with making sure everyone else had a spot that I didn't give myself anything.
Oh, no. You want to do a scene with me?
Yeah, well, everyone else had something.
Now, season 1 is my second favorite season of the show Barry, and that is because it's basically perfect. It's just that season 2 is more perfect. So there are two main things that I just really like about season 1. One thing is that I just really like that every character kind of gets introduced and you meet all these wacky characters that kind of evolve in season 2, and that's very fun to see. But more importantly, what I really like about season 1 is that the balance between comedy and drama is done very, very good. It's very natural and realistic, which also makes it very funny just in general. Except for one scene at the ending of season 1 where it's a bit too comedic, like it's a very dramatic moment and then there's just some shitty pun between it, which was very weird. But for the rest, the balance in season 1 is very good. And that's going to be important because throughout the show, the balance doesn't really happen anymore and it kind of gets all over the place. Season 2 being way more comedic, which I like a lot. Season 2 is my favorite season, but season 3 and 4 being way more dramatic and it kind of doesn't work, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, so season 1 is probably the most balanced of them all, and that's why it works very well. I also think that the characters are just very solid in season 1. The main character, Barry, is played by Bill Hader, who is also the writer of the show, and he does a very great job. Barry is kind of this confused, oblivious dude who, because he doesn't want to murder people anymore, tries to do the right thing, which gives a lot of room for comedic moments and stuff, but also very serious moments. Because of his background and stuff. Then you have Sally, which is the side character. She's a very good side character. Keep that in mind because she starts not being a side character later in the show and it really ruins the show, at least for me. Fuchs is just an awesome character. Like the first time you see him in the show, you already know, yeah, this is gonna be an awesome character. And Fuchs is also, interestingly, the only character that just really gets better and better throughout the show and at the ending becomes the best version of himself. all the other endings of the characters, in my opinion, I don't really like. Maybe like a few for Barry's ending, for example. But Fuchs is just like the only character that at the ending is just so incredibly funny and great. And also just has a great character arc that I really love. Fuchs is just a perfectly made character. And by the way, I also think it's really funny that the guy who plays Fuchs also plays the dad of Charles Boyle in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like at the second or third scene when I saw him, I realized, wait, isn't that guy? If you know, you know, basically. We also have NoHo Hank, which is just the most funniest character ever. Just in general, he's like this guy from a gang of Chechens or something, but then like later he kind of becomes his own thing and all, and it's just awesome. I just think in general it's very interesting that I think the best actors, in my opinion, are Barry, Fuchs, and Noah Hank, and then I mean the actors who play those characters, obviously. And it's very interesting because those actors, at least from what I know of them, are mostly comedy actors. But they're also the best actors, at least in this show, when it comes to the dramatic scenes. And that I think is just very powerful and interesting, that they are just that good, that they have like very good comedy skills, but it can also just act very well when it comes to very dramatic and serious moments. And especially because season 1 is so balanced, it's very interesting to see how these actors kind of shift between that in a very satisfying way.
Right here, man.
Oh my god, my guys suck balls, you know it. Especially this motherfucker right here.
If I suck balls, you are king of suck balls mountain.
Shut the fuck up.
Season 2 is probably the peak of the show, which is kind of disappointing, but it's also just very, very good. Like, firstly, I really love the whole arc where Barry has to kind of train the Chechens to become better at, well, killing people because they're that bad at killing people. And then at the end, they become like really good and like professional killers. That's just really funny. And also just stuff like that the Chechens dance every time. Like, they celebrate every time they murder someone or did something cool, like they almost killed Barry, and that's just very funny. And also the episode with the Taekwondo dude, which I think is like the highest rated, or it's like the second highest rated episode of Barry. And if you've seen it, you know, that's just a incredibly funny episode. I don't really have more to say about season 2. It's just incredibly funny. Like, you'll just have to see it for yourself. It's a comedic masterpiece.
You heard that right?
You sure you heard something? I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything fall off the roof.
I didn't either. There had to be something there.
Maybe it was an acorn.
Barry. Kill her.
Just take her off your face.
I can't.
Why?
Because I superglued my hands to the steering wheel.
I don't even mean those words lightly. I think season 2 has just a little bit more comedy than drama, but it works very well. Like, it's kind of hard to say. I think season 1 is better, kind of, when it comes to overall dramatic moments. But season 2 is just way more enjoyable because it's way more funny. And the dramatic moments that season 2 does have are very impactful. And that's why season 2 works so well. But it's the peak because after season 2 they focus way more on drama. And that's not really the right word. It's more they focus way more on very weird amateur shit. And that's why season 3 and 4 just kind of, the show kind of goes down in season 3 and especially 4. But I'll get into that later. But overall, season 2 is just very good.
Hey, I think we're gonna call this off.
What? No eyelids? Just shoot him?
No, I don't want him dead. Thank you. You know, he made some valid points. So, I'm forgiving Jeff. He's sorry he fucked my wife. You know, and she's no saint either, okay? There's a whole history we don't need to get into. I think I just overreacted.
There's no forgiving Jeff!
So when I heard from my friend that after season 2 the show was gonna get more serious, I was very excited because I was like, whoa, these are good actors, it's a very good show, and I'm very interested to see where it's going if it takes kind of a different route. But the thing is, like I said, that didn't really work very well. Now, I don't think this is the actor's fault or anything. I think the actors do a fantastic job. They're very good. But I kind of think it's the direction's fault. More specifically, the director's fault. So sorry, Bill. But I think it's kind of the thing that I think Bill, because he's such a comedian, he's very good at, well, making a comedy show. And because he's a very good actor, he kind of has that very good balance between drama and comedy. And that's where it works very well. But in season 3, he kind of tries to make the show more crafty and more artistic and more dramatic and serious. But it just doesn't work at all. And I feel like he just kind of stepped out of line, to put it lightly. And this kind of weird, creative, artistic stuff that just doesn't work is very annoying, because it makes the show not only just way worse, but also way more amateur, which isn't a very nice feeling, to put it lightly, I guess. And I think a very good example for this is one of my most favorite movies of all time, A Marriage Story. Now, I can rant about this movie all day, and I know a lot of people don't think it's that great, but I really like it. I think the acting is fantastic. But what I really, really like about that show is that the acting is perfect, but the direction is also very, very good. You get a couple that really loves each other, but throughout both relatable things that you get to see from both sides, they kind of slowly grow against each other, ending in a very satisfying fight scene, but they're not fighting, but, you know, yelling at each other, in the climax, which is just one of the best movie moments of all time, in my opinion. I really like that movie, alright? But yeah, and that is how you do character growth, and more specifically, how you make kind of problems between characters grow and kind of hate towards. Yeah, you can have thousands of shows as examples where you can even say Naruto, Sasuke and Naruto. That's an example of growth, and that's not really done that right, but it's better than Barry, and that's kind of my problem. Now, the show tries to do this, and it really does it very horribly. Now, I would like to take my most hated character in this entire show, Sally. Now, like I said, in season 1 and season 2, she's very good because she's a very good side character. And in season 3, they try to make her like basically a main character. Maybe, not the main character, but she even has like she has an entire story dedicated to her that kind of goes hand in hand with Barry's story throughout season 3, basically. And it doesn't work at all, because firstly, what you need for a character to feel invested is feel relatable or feel some sort of interest. But Sally, from already season 1, is, and again, I guess this is all opinional or something, I don't know, maybe some people disagree with me here, probably, but she's just such an annoying character. She's always angry, she's always intense, she cries about literally everything, and she tries to get the best out of everything, and that's a very cool, interesting thing to have in a character. But they don't explore it. And now in season 3, she's suddenly a main character, and we just have to feel invested in her or something. And we have to feel for her trauma with her husband or whatever. But that's not developed, and that's the problem. You try to focus on the character in season 3 randomly, and without even having any investment in that character. And it doesn't work. Again, it's really dumb that I keep gonna mention Naruto, but it's the same thing in Naruto. Like, you have like this random background character, and then suddenly in Shippuden a whole season is dedicated to him, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's the problem with Sally, especially. Like, I think in season 2 it is, or maybe it is actually in season 3, I don't know, but they have this moment where her abusive husband comes back. And I was like, okay, this is interesting, right? Because we get to finally know something about her, something interesting. And then it's just one episode, and it's that. And it's just like, oh, she couldn't say to her husband what she wanted to say. Like, she said to everybody, oh, fuck my husband, and then she left. But that wasn't the reality. And it was interesting, but you didn't develop on that. And now you have a whole season, basically the half, that is dedicated to this character. And here's where it gets worse, because we only know the annoying, angry Sally only from a few different parts in season 1 that aren't developed too much, because again, she's a side character, so now we have to feel for her throughout this whole hate. You only see her hateful and annoying side, and that makes it very weird for the show to say, see, she turned evil, Hollywood made her evil, but she was crying from episode 1 and she was already angry at like the littlest things. What are you talking about? And that's kind of the problem, and especially that scene, which is just only if you have watched the show, you know what I mean. But I'll try to explain it. Spoilers, but yeah, that's basically already this whole video. Where she's in the elevator and she is screaming towards, I guess, another actor friend. And it's very dramatic because that actor kind of stole her shit, basically. And her whole life is in ruins. Her dream is basically gone. And that actress just did a big L on her, basically like that. So she gets very angry and very mad, and she starts screaming and yelling cuss words. I'm not gonna say which one, but the C one, alright. And this could have been very powerful and very interesting if I gave a shit, but I didn't, because she's some random side character. And again, like I said, she's not really a side character, like she is pretty important in season 1. But if we got more interesting things about her side other than I want to perceive Hollywood, it would have been so much more interesting. But now it just feels like she's just a massive asshole who just overreacted way too much and just shouted her coworker out for no reason. And I mean, the show kind of also says that, but it's not powerful enough. And you would think, oh, but this is just an example. But the problem is, the whole Sally arc is like, I don't know if it's like the half of season 3. I don't really remember it that well because it was that horrible. But it was like 1/3 or something of the entirety of season 3. And it didn't work. And yeah, I'm sorry for my contagious rant, but that's why season 3 just doesn't work at all. So to summarize it, if you get a side character that you're gonna make a main character and all we know is that she's a complete asshole and she isn't interesting, she isn't gonna be fun or exciting or, well, just interesting to watch. Especially if you make that like 1/3 or just the half of the season. It isn't fun. And again, like, this might sound like I hate just the idea of developing side characters. I really don't. I think it's sometimes very interesting when you develop a side character, but either you make them interesting and fun or relatable when you develop them, or a little bit before, so when they change you realize it and you care for it when they change. But if you just have a character that's always annoying, I'm not gonna give a shit. And yeah, so sorry if I get so angry, but that's why I hate season 3, and I personally think it's the worst season. Now, to end on a more positive note, and the only reason why I would never give season 3 a 5 out of 10 and actually a 6 out of 10 is basically because the ending is very, very good, and that's like the only thing that really carries season 3. Because the Sally arc is kind of horrible. The Barry arc, although also having some worse moments, is pretty good, and especially the ending, like I said, of season 3. I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but it's very good and it's very interesting, and I think it's the best ending of all the seasons basically, but it's very good, and that's the only, I think, compliment I can give season 3. But overall, it's still not a very good season, especially compared to the rest.
2 as an egg. I don't know, Barry, but here's what's important. Those eggs that cracked, those eggs weren't trustworthy. Those eggs weren't honest. For all you know, we put a chip in you, right? We know where you are. Maybe not. But ultimately, that's what it's about. You tell us what you like, you tell us what you need. And we'll see to it that we can get you everything we can.
That guy's here to kill me.
So overall, season 4 is just very mixed in my opinion, but I do think it's just not that good. It's better than season 3, but not by a long shot or anything. I think with season 4, the first part is very good and very funny. The last part is very good and very funny, and kind of all the begin or all the middle episodes are all incredibly horrible and very bad. So let me get into it. So probably the main reason why I don't like season 4 is, I guess, kind of a hot take, but I really, really hate it when shows are weird for no goddamn reason. And it looks like it's so cool, or they try to make it look cool because it's so weird and so quirky and different. I hate it. It's the reason why I hate the movie Megan. It's the reason why I hate Midsummer, and it's the reason why the end of Space Odyssey is garbage. I'm sorry, it's bad, alright? And I hate it when shows do it. I think weirdness only works when it's duo with something that does work or is logical, like for example a funny theme or something. Like if the show is funny and then it has some weird theme around it, then it works. For example, Smiling Friends or something. Or I think it works when it has structure behind the weirdness, like for example the camera is tilted because somebody fell or something, or the camera or the screen is gray because it's a different perspective or a flashback or something. Those are the only two situations where I think weirdness works in a show. When it's done right, when it's interesting, you know? Why are there zombies? Don't just tell me, oh, there are zombies because they're zombies. Either tell me why there are zombies, give me structure why there are zombies, and tell me why it's interesting, or make a funny show that the zombies are funny, or maybe the zombies aren't even that more important and it's more just an obstacle. Then it works. But when you just have a show that's just a normal show, and then suddenly there's a zombie in the show, and you're like, what? Why? And it's never explained, and it's just there, and it's not even funny. It doesn't really work, right? Like, that's logical thinking. And that's why Barry season 4 doesn't really work, because it's the same thing. The show is kind of normal, it makes sense, sometimes it's a little bit weird, but then it's for funny moments. For example, the Taekwondo episode, if you know, if you know, you know, I mean. That's a pretty weird episode, but it's done for comedic purposes, and that's why it's very funny, and it works. But season 4 just randomly is so weird, and it just doesn't work at all, and it doesn't make sense. You can't just tell me that a house is levitating and getting all over the place, and everybody is just suddenly Christian or something because they're acting or something, and you have very weird camera shots or something, and it feels like it's made by an amateur or a short movie on YouTube, because, oh, they are scared or depressed or have PTSD or something. That's not how that works, alright? And it just doesn't work. Like that scene, and that's mostly what I'm hinting at, so spoilers, but where Sally is alone at home with their son. Yes, they have a son in season 4. Don't ask, alright? And the house starts shaking or some shit, and oh my god. And then you have this random dude all covered in black, like if you've seen the show American Horror Story, and you have that guy in that latex suit that's all black, you know, kind of like that, and that, like, that person is chasing her around the house, and it's just, why is that there? And there's no explanation, there's no structure, it's not funny or anything, it's just there because, oh, she's losing her mind or something. Wow, that's very original, guys. Very cool, very interesting. And it's just so dumb and amateur, and it doesn't work. And that's season 4 for you. So yeah, hopefully you guys can understand that it doesn't really work for me when the drunk housewife starts going schizo and the house starts levitating and she's an asshole towards her kid. And because some PTSD flashbacks or something, or just PTSD moments in general, I have to give a shit. That's not how movies work. That's not how shows work. That's not how you make a goddamn story, you fucking jackass. I hate it, alright? And just, it doesn't work. For like the 30th time I said that, but yeah. So, you might be wondering why I keep getting so angry, but it's because I really like Barry. It's a very good show. I know I keep ranting about it, but as a reviewer, you can probably understand that I'm probably gonna talk more about the stuff that I hate than the stuff I like. I know that I'm supposed to balance it, but just like this show, I guess I'm not doing that. Season 1, Season 2 are great. Season 3 isn't that good, but it has good moments, and just like Season 4. I haven't talked about the ending or the beginning, but that's because it's more spoiler related, and I don't want to do that, but those are the good parts. Still, Season 4 has good parts, and Season 4 is a little bit more watchable than Season 3 in my opinion. Well, they both have very bad stuff, but yeah. But like I said, I really care about Barry. It's a very good show, so that's why it kind of pisses me off when the director starts to go ape shit or something throughout the show. It just doesn't work. But yeah, now I'm gonna give my opinion on just the whole show in general, I guess. So here is my final tier list of every season and a score for it. And also, because I thought it would be interesting, I also added a second opinion from a friend of mine. So here is his tier list of every season with a score for it. So overall, like I said, I really like Barry. It's a very good show. It's incredibly funny. It's one of the best comedy shows I've seen in a while, maybe even one of the best I've seen ever. So yeah, even if you don't really like comedy or whatever, I still recommend it because it's incredibly funny. And it's still very serious at times. So if you kind of like that drama stuff, go watch it. The only downside is that it's on HBO Max, which I don't really give a shit about because I basically have every streaming service. But if you only have Netflix, that could be a bit annoying. But yeah, I think overall, I've really had to think about this. But I think I'm gonna give Barry an 8 out of 10. Because it's still very good. And I think the good side is that the bad stuff happens at the ending. And, well, the ending, basically halfway the ending, because it's Season 3 and Season 4. But you can just not watch those. So you can also just watch Season 1 and Season 2 and have a great time. So I guess that's why I rated it a little bit higher. And also because still the acting is very good. And, well, I just love the actors. And even Season 3 and Season 4 still have good moments and stuff. So even though it has some very horrible stuff in it, I still like this show a lot, and it's still very good. So I recommend this to basically everyone because it just kind of has themes that go all over the place. So I guess everyone can watch it. But overall, yeah, sorry if I haven't really uploaded a video for like 2 weeks. But here it is. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. And like and subscribe would be great. And I hope you guys just like this video in general. So, bye-bye.